Welcome to Encroachment Sports Talk. This has got to be, for most armchair, especially fantasy players, probably the best time of the year because hopefully you haven't done your fantasy draft yet, and we'll give you some insight. But we've been prepping for fantasy drafts, and we're going to go through our list of fantasy sleepers and then some busts as well. So let's get right into it, Chris, and let's start with the running back position, and let me know if you have any sleepers.
Yeah, I've got a couple there, Mark. First of all, let's. This is an exciting time. I'm telling you, it doesn't get more exciting for somebody like me. So I wore my colors and so forth. But I'm really fired up because it's not only the fantasy, but your teams are playing, and sky's the limit. So unlimited potential for everyone. We're all starting from the starting line together. So
everybody's undefeated.
Yeah, everyone's undefeated. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. So let's get into sleepers for running backs. We got a couple. These are names that you've heard, but I think there are situations to give them an opportunity now that they didn't used to have. So the first one is Rachaad White, and he's Tampa Bay. He's only 24 years old. He backed up Leonard Fournette for a long period of time. This will be his first shot at being kind of the bell cow back. And a couple reasons I think he's going to be pretty good. One, he is behind a pretty good offensive line still. It's certainly solid compared to some of the peers. He's playing with a quarterback who's underwhelming in Mayfield, so they're going to want to run the ball a lot. And I think that he's got two receivers that will open up the running game for him with Godwin and Evans, who maybe their best days are behind him, but they're still big threats. So I think he's positioned to be maybe a top running back this year. I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers probably won't have a terrific year, but he statistically might have kind of a breakout year. And again, I like his age. He's got low mileage on his tread. And again, he's been a backup forever. So he's ready to go. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts on him?
I think that's a good call. I like when you factor in the team's style of play, who's at quarterback, and how that factors into the opportunities that the backs will get. Yes. So I think that's a good call with Baker Mayfield there.
Yep. So next guy, same kind of thing. Cam Akers. So again, 24 years old. So this is the magic number, 24. But what I'm getting at with that, the age number, is they have low mileage again on their tires, which is a big deal. And that's one of the things we'll talk about, I think, later in the episodes with what happened to running backs. Are they undervalued? But he had a really good year last year. Quietly, he had 1,400 yards rushing. He 4.2 average, which is slightly above the mean, and he had 9 touchdowns. So again, couple of things. Quarterback is injury prone, and Matthew Stafford. I think they're going to want to run the ball. I think they want to take the pressure off of Matthew Stafford. They have Cooper Kupp to kind of be a little bit of a threat outside there. And he's a great receiver out of the backfield. His average out of the backfield was 9.3 yards per catch, which is pretty impressive. So I think, again, that was a good year last year, 1,409. If you give me those stats or something close to that, oh yeah, that's a top 15 running back. And he's being drafted where I'm seeing it right now in the top 30 running backs, 25 running backs. So I think there's some upside there.
That's a good call. Yeah, he's never been on my radar, so it sounds like a good sleeper. I typically, for sleepers, I like to look at rookie running backs, but Bijan Robinson is like top 5, so he doesn't qualify. So my sleepers are not unknown by any stretch. I just think these are a couple guys that are a little bit undervalued. The first was Dameon Pierce from Houston, where I'm seeing that he's sort of a tier 4 running back, sort of in the 15 through 20 range. And again, like you mentioned, Chris, they've got a rookie quarterback, right? CJ Stroud. So, and they've got, DeMarco Ryan is a defensive minded coach. Yep. He comes from the Niners with a more run oriented ball control system that would imagine he's going to try to instill. And so they're going to try to lean on Dameon Pierce quite a bit. And he also caught 30 passes last year. So you can dump the ball out to him, and I think he'll be a good safety valve for that young quarterback.
I think that's a great call, Mark. I mean, everything you said is right on. they're.
Yeah, and like I said, he's not gonna, he's on everybody's radar already. I just think he's a little undervalued. I think he's closer to like the eighth through 10th ranking.
I think he's in the top 10 and he's been drafted in the top 20. So I think
Right.
he's undervalued.
Right. And then the other one, just to keep an eye on, I was gonna say, well, with these holdout situations, Jonathan Taylor, just keep an eye on where he goes. I mean, if this guy lands in a situation where he can be that bell cow running back, you may get him. He may drop to like the 12th, 14th draft position, because who wants to draft a guy high when it's he may stick to his guns and hold out. So that situation, depending on when your draft happens, if it's before that situation has been resolved, that's somebody to keep an eye on.
Yeah, with talent alone, in my opinion, he's top 5. He's been drafted in the 15 to 20 range again because of that uncertainty.
Oh, so he's already dropping.
Yeah, they're being discounted a little bit because he's not like Josh Jacobs, who just signed the 1-year deal. He's, I think, much more entrenched in sitting out the year. So
exactly. So speaking of talking about busts, I picked Josh Jacobs for a couple of reasons. One, he's had this long holdout. He hasn't reported to camp at all, whereas Taylor was there for a while. So who knows what kind of shape he's in. And then he's also got Garoppolo now at quarterback, as opposed to, just kind of more of a ball control, a guy who's not going to stretch the field, and so they can stack the box a little more against Jacobs. And I just have a bad feeling about Josh Jacobs, so I'm staying away from him in my fantasy drafts. Yeah. And the other bust I would stay away from is Aaron Jones. Again, you don't have Rodgers there anymore. With Love, they can stack the box. On one hand, they're going to try to probably play it a little more safe, probably don't, screen passes to the running back. But I just don't see the Packers offense as being as dynamic as it was with Rodgers. So there's going to be less opportunities to score, less time on the field. So I would also stay away from Aaron Jones.
Yeah, that's a good call too. So let me get back to your Josh Jacobs one. And I think the other factor is he had just a phenomenal year last year. But he talk about what tread is left on that tire. I'm worried about that. If you look, I think there's some statistics. If you look at like these running backs that have that great year, that next year is oftentimes not even close to that premier year, if you will. Because the body can only take so much punishment. Yeah, and so I agree with you there. The other one, I agree with your other thoughts. The other one that I'm a little nervous about, because it's my team, is Madison. He's being drafted. He's being drafted in the 15 range, top 15, and he's not Dalvin Cook.
Right?
He's not. He's a 3 yards in a cloud of dust kind of guy.
Right.
And so I think the guy behind him actually is more talented, Ty Chandler. He'll get some opportunities. He's going to obviously be probably, unless they sign Kareem Hunt or something, he'll be the goal line back. But how much of that do you get when you have Jefferson, you have Addison now, you have Osborne, and then you throw in Hawkinson? I just don't know how much opportunity he's got. So
that's a great call. Yeah, I've actually been wondering about Madison myself, so I trust the insider, and very good call. Yeah. Well, that was a great show. We'll be doing a bunch of like little shows here for each position, so we'll be back shortly with wide receivers.
Sounds good.